Hello, friends, and welcome to the 71st episode of Profoundish. I'm today's co-host, Weston. Alex didn't record his intro, so I'm doing it. That's definitely never happened to me before, where he's had to do mine. No, that's never happened. Anyway, do you like movies? Do you have a comfort one you like to listen to? Can you guess what a movie might be based on simply the description alone? All that and more on today's episode of Profoundish.
Weston's just not quite the man he used to be.
I'm not. I've got this ice pack that I've been just rotating around from my forehead to the top of my head, to the side of my neck, to the other side of my neck. I've just been rotating an ice pad around my head.
Well, how long until you have to re-cool it, though?
This is an igloo ice block. It's something like 5 by 11 inches. It's this massive behemoth. It's still cold. It's been running. I've had it out since I had lunch a few hours ago.
And it's still cold?
It's still
like,
cold.
Doing the job?
It's still doing its thing, yeah. No, it's a beast. I got 4 of these, too. I have these on rotation.
It's like when you go to sleep, you can just like lay them all underneath you or you know, it's all around you.
No,
like,
that's
under your
That's legitimately what I do. I'll put them in my pillowcase underneath the pillow part and actually keep the pillow cool that way. Put a couple of ice packs in there. I do that actually.
That's fantastic. That's hilarious. That works. I know. I remember I wasn't sick, but it was on a hot summer day and I had no AC. And it was at night, and it was still hot. And I remember all I had to keep myself cool was one of those ice packs, but it wasn't a big one. It was like the little baby lunchbox version.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like half the size of like a cell phone, or maybe the size of a cell phone. And I remember I was using it, you know, for like 10-minute increments, and then it would lose its cold, and I have to go put it back in the freezer. It was miserable. So you got a better setup here.
Yeah, that's where you just have to have a couple of them, so you have them on rotation, man.
Those you can like, well, I was so hot that I kind of at one point just kind of put it in my pants. It was just nice. Not like right where the front of my pants are, but just at the side. It cooled my thigh and it made the rest of my body feel cool.
Did you actually put them like down your pants or just like in your pockets?
Down my pants.
Because I feel like if you put them in your pockets, they would have stayed in place better, but you do you, man.
No, I was like on the couch, and I would put it in between my boxers and my shorts. So I would just like put them in between there, and it was just really comfy. But maybe you should tell everybody listening to Profoundish today what's going on. Why do you need these ice packs, Weston? What's happening to you?
If you haven't been able to tell by the sound of my voice, I don't know what the sound of my voice sounds like because my head is all screwed up. I'm sick. It's the sick edition of Profoundish. Have we had a sick edition yet where I'm sick?
No, we had a sick episode where we talked about how neither of us really get sick.
Okay, well, to counter that, everybody, I'm sick. I'm ill.
So in a rare instance, here's Weston, overtaken. Yeah, but he will make it through.
My body finally succumbed to the darkness of the plague or whatever it is that I've got. I don't know.
Well, you know, Weston, since you're sick, you have a lot of time to kind of sit back and do something. You want to take a guess what I'm trying to get at?
Well, the problem is that when you're sick,
you have
there's like
lots of
things
time
you don't
to do.
want to do. Like, I kept trying to play video games today, and like staring at the computer screen was making my eyes water. So it's been a real struggle, I'll tell you what.
Oh man. Well, maybe you need to do something a little less. It still involves a screen, but it's a little less interactive.
It shows
it's more,
movies.
Yeah, movies. That's what I'm getting at today.
Movies.
I think we've talked about movies before, but I have a fun segment in the second half, so I wanted to talk about movies again. So
that's okay. If we've talked about movies before, I don't remember.
I don't know if we actually have specifically or not, but
not as a whole episode, I don't think.
Well, this is a great start because I'll start with a little story of mine. The times that I do get sick, I actually usually, this might be just a me thing, but I'm curious if you have any like go-to movies or shows if you're like, no, you're going to be down for a while. I say this because for me, I actually do that quite often. If I'm sick, I usually always throw on one of the movies in the Austin Powers trilogy just because they're comforting because I've watched them since I was a kid. And they're just goofy to watch. And you don't, it's you don't have to think much to watch those movies and enjoy them. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I love about them. I didn't know if you had any sort of like comfort movies when you're sick or any kind of go-tos.
I don't think I have any comfort movies, unfortunately. When I'm sick, usually what I'm trying to do is just get as much sleep in as possible. So I'll put in like just documentaries or something long form. Like nature documentaries are the best. Like for it, right?
Yeah.
You just put on some guy like narrating is like, and the bullet frog deep inside the rainforest, and it's jumping from leaf to leaf, and you're just like passing out to like whatever. It's just the best.
Right.
That's the best thing to just pass out to, I think.
I like that.
But movies, I don't know that I have go-to movies when I was sick. I do remember I was sick with a really, really bad flu. It was the sickest I'd ever been. I've told you about this. It was the sickest I'd ever been. I was out for like over a week, and I watched several movies. There was a train documentary movie I watched that I fell asleep to, and the entire Shrek quadrilogy, like Shrek 1 through 4, which is pretty good because that's like, like 8 hours of movie, right? Yeah. I don't know how long the movies are, but like 8 hours worth of movie there. You just watch the whole Shrek quadrilogy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that the most you've watched in like this in a row, or have you done like longer?
Movie wise,
like movie marathon.
I would have to. Oh well, if I'm doing a movie marathon, I know I've done movie marathons before. Something came out a while back. Oh, I think it was when Toy Story 4 came out. Might have been the last time I just watched a whole trilogy just at once. I watched Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 before I watched 4.
Like all like that same day.
Oh yeah, in one sitting.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the last time I did a movie marathon. I'll be honest with you, because a lot of times if I marathon something, I'm binge watching a show. So that might be the last time I marathoned movies. I'm not sure.
Okay. I have one time. It's funny because I'm a fan of these movies, and I say attempted because I never made it through the Return of the King. So I tried because I love the Lord of the Rings movies, but I remember it was me and I think it was like me and a cousin and like a friend or something. It was a long time ago, but we decided to do the director's cuts of all 3 movies. So if anyone's familiar with these movies, yeah, exactly. Like the Return of the King alone, like director's cut is like almost 5 hours or something. So we thought we could do it, and we made it through 2 towers. Then after that, we were just done because that was already like 7 hours. And but that reminds me of a separate story, which is I know that one of my siblings and my stepdad growing up did a yearly tradition where they would watch all the Harry Potter movies. I think that was like a weekend thing though, because there's like 8 movies or something.
Yeah.
So
8 movies.
So
that would be a long. Days. That would be a long marathon to do in one day. Like you are waking up, and you are up until because that's like, yeah. So if there's like 8 movies, you're looking at roughly 16-ish hours with breaks, right? Because like I don't think they're all 2 hours long. I think especially the early ones. But they get longer as the series goes on. But you need like bathroom breaks and food and stuff. But that would be a heck of a day. Like that, the Harry Potter ones or the director's cut of Lord of the Rings. That is the ideal. I'm sick. I've seen these movies already. Everyone knows everything about them because they're just such a part of like, I don't know, it's culture or something where it's like, I can turn these on and I don't have to commit my full attention to like watching it because I already know what they're about. Right. Like I'm not, especially if you're sick, I'm not worried about like falling asleep, waking up and not knowing what's going on. It's like, oh yeah,
right.
I know where we're at. We're good. Dobby got his sock. Woohoo.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, too, is that if you're up with it enough to not fall asleep and you're just kind of laying there, just kind of chilling out, like it's still, the stories of both of those are still good enough that you can enjoy multiple times.
I don't think I've watched the Lord of the Rings movies since they came out.
Really? Okay.
I don't think I've ever rewatched them.
I know that you and I, speaking of movies, we went to go see the Hobbit movies together. I think did they break that out into 3 or into 2?
They somehow broke that poor book into 3 parts for the
I
movie.
can't believe that.
And 80% of the book is done in the first movie, and the rest of the movies are just made up garbage. I'm not a fan of that trilogy. For anyone listening, I am not a fan of the Hobbit movies, even a little bit.
I could definitely know. I never read like the book or anything like that with the Hobbit, but I will say that I remember it feels kind of like what you just said, because I remember the second movie being extremely boring, and it almost felt just like it was fluff to add a little bit of flair in the final movie or something.
It's because
I can't remember. It's been years, but
I don't remember. It's a fever dream now, but like almost nothing in the second movie happened in the book. It was just all made up.
Weird.
And I'm like, yeah, why? Like, this isn't Hobbit. This is Lord of the Rings, the prequel. That's what it is, because they kept shoveling stuff in to be like, haha, look, it's Lord of the Rings. It's like, we know it doesn't have to have Legolas in it for us to know it's freaking Lord of the Rings, because Legolas is not in the Hobbit. All right, like he's not there, and they make him a main character. I'm like, get this elf piece of crap out of here. I like Legolas, but he doesn't belong here. This is a story about hobbits.
Be nice to Legolas.
I like Legolas, but get him out. He doesn't belong here.
What do you have any other like long running movie series that you're a fan of? Because I can think of a bunch that that I guess I'm not a fan of. Not meaning I'm like I dislike them, but maybe I haven't seen them. But are there any other like long going franchise movies that you've always kind of looked forward to the next movie coming out, even just like a little?
I get this is kind of cheating a little bit, but kind of not. But just because of its history, Star Wars, of course. I wasn't around for the original trilogy, but I was tiny for the sequel trilogy, and then eventually when they announced like the sequel trilogy, I was very excited about that. My hopes and dreams were dashed with those movies, but it's okay. We carry on anyway.
That seems like a sentiment a lot of Star Wars fans share, I feel like.
We
carry on.
I was say I can get into so many like it's been a while since I watched them, so I forget the details now, but there's just so much wrong with the 8th movie that isn't the same stuff that you hear everyone complain about. Like there's more nuance to it, but there's so much that the 8th movie derailed the even potential hope that this was going to be a trilogy instead of just 3 separate movies hamstrung together. That just crushed me when I watched the 8th movie. I'm like, oh, so this is definitely not a trilogy. There will be 3 movies, but it's not a trilogy. And that's what it is. It's
Weird.
like you watch 3 Frankenstein together movies if you watch them back to back, because they're barely related to each other.
Okay, I was going to say, like, by kind of Frankenstein together, do you mean like the pieces of the movies? Because I haven't seen any of these, but the pieces that, like, the parts of the movies that make them feel connected, do they feel kind of forced and out of place?
There's nothing that connects them, period. They don't do any, like, there's nothing that's set up in 7 that happens at 8, or something that's set up in 8 that happens at 9. And God forbid there's nothing set up in 7 that ends up in 9, period. There's just nothing that connects them other than, oh yeah, literally, so the characters are the same, but there's no development. They pretend to have development. They pretend. They have the whole, Rey's gonna be evil for like 3 seconds, and it was just, there was nothing. They didn't do any setup and no payoff. It was just like, here's a twist. I bet you didn't see that coming. No, because you didn't set anything up. Here's another twist. Didn't see that coming. Correct. No, you didn't set it up. A twist a twist doesn't impact me or shock me or make me feel anything if you didn't set any breadcrumbs for it.
Right. Because, to my knowledge, in the older movies, kind of wasn't a big part of that series. Like, something set up maybe in movie 1. I know I'm getting my numbers wrong, but you know what I mean? The first movie, and then, like, there's a payoff in the second. Like,
well, but it's not... Yeah, they're telling a cohesive story all the way through. Like, in the original, they're telling about how the Empire is really strong, and things are looking bleak, and then the rebels have to come back, and then there's a battle on Endor, and blah, blah, blah. It's this one cohesive story broken into 3 parts. The prequel trilogy, it's the same way. It's one cohesive story. The first movie, like episode 1, not the first movie, episode 1, is a little less cohesive because it takes place so many years before 2 and 3, but because they're setting up Vader, blah, blah, blah. But it's one cohesive story all the way through that happens to be split into 3 parts. 7, 8, 9 doesn't do that. It's just like, okay, the 7th movie is just like a copycat movie of like movie of episode like 4 or something like that. It's like kind of a copycat episode, but it's like, okay, but you're coming back to form. No big deal. That's okay. The 8th movie, now we're on a ship and that's it. Let's race some horses for no reason. And then movie 9, Palpatine's back. Ah! Let's ride some horses on a freight. I don't know. There's a scene where they're all riding on space horses on top of a giant spaceship in the like upper atmosphere of the Sith planet. And I'm like, why do we have an Indian Wild West Western horse scene on top of a spaceship 20,000 feet above the surface of this planet? What is happening? I lost it.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us next time on our next episode of Sick Weston Complains About Star Wars.
Palpatine straight up lightnings the entire sky as in a show of like defiance and then never does it again against his enemies. He does it once to show off and then never again to hurt anybody. Weak.
That's a lot of power, though.
It would be if he wasn't just a giant dummy. He's at clone vats where he's cloning the most powerful Force user in known existence and doesn't use them.
You know, I have nothing to say to that, but I can say this about Star Wars. I remember, I'm going to give Weston a minute to cool off a little bit. He's getting all heated. He's already hot from his sickness.
Yeah, you're going to get just delirious Star Wars talk.
No, I was just going to say, I remember when the prequels came out, because we were wee lads, but we were alive for, I think, all 3 of them.
Yeah, and
they were early. But either way, I just remember the impact at the time. Because to my knowledge with Star Wars came out, it was a huge phenomenon at the time, and then there was kind of a lull for the most part, at least in the pop culture consciousness for a while. And then like in the 90s, it really started to make a resurgence, I guess, with these movies. And then it just kind of, I feel like the momentum just kept going up from there once the prequels came. I could be wrong with that because, once again, I'm an outsider, but I will say that I remember feeling like it was a big event when that movie came out, the first of the prequels. Because I saw that movie when I was a kid. I remember nothing about it, but I remember seeing that with my dad, and I remember like it, at the time, I know they did a lot of special effects stuff, which is something that Star Wars always has, been proud to do. And I just remember being blown away by that, but I have really no memories of it now. But I just remember, I don't know if you felt that too, but it felt like a big occasion that these movies were coming out at that time.
I was a big fan of Star Wars as a kid.
Oh, you already were? Okay.
Yeah, as a kid, I was a big fan of Star Wars. We had a giant life-size cardboard cutout of Jar Jar Binks at home.
That's awesome.
That's just something we had. Looking back on it now as an adult, it's like that's just a thing we had in the house. But my parents used to work at a movie theater. They remember when the originals came out to theaters.
That's cool.
So like it's just
that would be such a crazy memory to have, especially the original ones, just for how groundbreaking they were at the time.
Yeah, and I think they said that the theaters were like packed and stuff. So like, I don't know, like it's weird that it's actually been kind of Star Wars has actually had this weird place in our family, but we're not like mega nerds about it. Like it's not like we collect a bunch of memorabilia and talk about Star Wars and we're like mega nerds or anything. It's just somehow always been in the background, just Jar Jar watching over us. It's just like, I don't know, it's just weird.
I know that one of my favorite classes I ever took during my college years was just like a film appreciation class. And Star Wars was one of the movies that we learned about. I think because we did like basically an iconic movie for every like big primary kind of movie genre, right? So we did like action adventure, we did like film noir, we did like sci-fi, which is, Star Wars, then we did horror and a few others. But I just remember or like thrillers too and all that stuff. It was a really cool class. But yeah, Star Wars was the sci-fi one, and that was my first exposure to the original movie. And it was I really liked it. I remember I had full intentions of going, I kind of want to finally watch these. I never have. It's just like it feels like a lot to get into now, but I will say that I enjoyed that very first one. I think it was one of the re-edited ones or something. I know there's like 7 edits of that movie.
Yeah,
But, or like, with like new special effects and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, if I were you, I wouldn't get too hung up on the weeds of the re-edits, and I would just throw yourself into whatever the latest version of the movies there are and just enjoy them for what they are. Yeah. Like, if you try to get too deep into the weeds there and try to like look up which one's the best one, you'll just get arguments. It's not worth doing.
Oh, I totally believe it.
I get it, everybody. I get it. Han is a rogue and should be the one that shoots first. I really don't care that much. It only matters if you're a mega nerd.
I actually have heard about that age-old debate. I am familiar with that. Yeah,
it's stuff like that where it's like, oh yeah, well because he's supposed to be the puckish rogue, right? Where he's the one that shoots first because Han Solo's not supposed to be like a great guy. All right, he is a criminal. He owes debts to the Huns. Like he's like a rogue, right? And so like yeah, he shoots first because the second he gets a whiff that things aren't going his way, he's dipping. He's firing that shot, he's out. You know what I mean? But they wanted, in the edit where they make him get shot at, they figured, well, now he can retaliate. It's self-defense, and now he's more of a good guy. But that's not who he is. So that's a whole thing. But people get, like, obsessively angry about it. That's why I brought it up, because it's, like, the meme. Han's shot first. Right, it's a meme.
Yeah. I know that when I was thinking about my film appreciation class there, I was thinking about, I got to see a lot of classic movies that I feel like I never would have otherwise seen.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm happy to say that, but it gets me thinking, because aren't there some like crazy huge classic movie omissions on your that haven't made it to your eyes yet? Aren't there a few big ones?
God, there are so many movies that haven't made it in front of my eyes. I have seen a few classics over the most recent years. Like I did finally see Titanic a couple of years ago. It took me a long time to finally do. That's one of them. God, it's so often people, have you seen this? No. Have you seen this? No. It's like name any classic movie and there's a good chance I'm going to say no. But yeah, my film appreciation class introduced me to Scorsese films and the Maltese Falcon, which is how I figured out that the guy who's trying to get the Maltese Falcon is the character they're making fun of in one of my favorite video games. Spy Fox has a character who's like a parody of a Maltese Falcon character, but I didn't know because I played that game when I was like 7. And that movie is like black and white era, so I didn't see it when I was 7.
That's awesome.
So
did you guys do, like, in your class, I don't know if it was the same structure as mine, did you divide it out by genre, or is it just kind of classic movies, or what was the
I don't remember.
Context?
That class was odd. I think we had it broken down by, I think we had a genre thing, and then it was kind of by period, loosely.
Okay.
But also the professor had some health issues, so things kind of got thrown all to, like, kind of weirdly. So we had topics that we were covering, of course, but I think that semester didn't go quite as planned. So,
okay, gotcha. So, like, did you see any other like crazy, like super classic movies in that class that you can think of offhand?
Yeah, they were old ones though. So, like, Maltese Falcon, Vertigo, the original. What's the one with the Bates Motel? That's not Psycho. That's is it?
I think that's Psycho. Yeah,
that's Psycho. I think we watched Psycho, which they made a series.
The infamous shower scene.
Yeah, the infamous shower scene. There was a whole thing behind that one, because one of the things that you look for in some of these really old films is that there's a lot of references to sex and men in these films. I mean, it comes right down to it. Why is it called the Bates Motel? Because this is a single lonely guy who's off his rocker.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like that's like it's stuff like stuff like that. It's like it's called that for a reason, and so that was one of those things where it's like We make fun of it in poetry class. It's like, but why is the door yellow? And sometimes there's a reason, sometimes there's not a reason. But a lot of these classic films, it's like everything was so deliberately shot that there is a reason for everything. Even when it comes down to, so like Maltese Falcon, right? The femme fatale, when she leaves the office of the detective, right? She goes down the stairs to leave the office. This isn't a real office building, so why does she go down the stairs? They could have found any room where you go up the stairs. Because she's the femme fatale. She goes down because that symbolizes her descent back into hell, because she's actually luring the detective into a trap of sin, vice, and death. Like, if he follows her, he will die, and that's what happens, right? So, like, there's all these, like, clues. Spoiler alert for anyone who wants to watch Maltese Falcon. It's one of those, noir, like, classic noir, black and white, like, the ones, if you ever see a detective parody and they're, like, making fun of the guy's, like, talking to himself and that voice that's like, it was a dark, cold night, just as my heart on the night that I lost my wife, and, that kind of thing. So, like, watch
And then
that.
you see him. Yeah. It's like a voiceover. Yeah.
That's one of those classic ones where that stuff kind of started. Yeah.
That's interesting. Because I know for with us for film noir, we watched. I don't know if you're gonna be familiar with this, but it's called Chinatown.
I never watched that one. No.
That's got Jack Nicholson in it, a young Jack Nicholson, who is one of my, if not my favorite actor of all time. I think he's incredible in everything he does, or did. I guess he's retired now. But anyway, that was one of his earlier ones. Came out in the early '70s, and I highly recommend it. It was just really good. But you talked about, well, you didn't mention Hitchcock, but Hitchcock obviously did Psycho. Yeah. We watched one of his, this was for the thriller genre, and it was North by Northwest. I don't remember much about that movie, but I just looked it up, and I know that the main guy, I guess, Cary Grant, that's his name. He was like a really big actor at the time, but that's all that I really remember.
I didn't watch that one, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Also, I'm not good at actors' names anyway, so that doesn't help.
But I do know that, like, Hitchcock is like a movie-making legend.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, like, we watched, like I said, Psycho, and I think we might have watched another Hitchcock film, but I don't remember what it was. It's a little bit of a blur.
One of his famous quotes at the time, and this was during a time when people were really starting to get, obviously him included, starting to get pretty creative with, like, the horror/thriller genre in movies, in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And one of his famous quotes, I'm going to not get it exactly right, but the idea of the quote basically was, the scariest things are the things you don't see. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was the guy that kind of was the one that said that first. And a lot of his movies kind of do exactly that. It's everything's, because even, like, I've never actually seen Psycho, so I don't really know. But I know, like, everything is implied with that shower scene. You don't see a thing, right? You see the blood going down the drain of the shower and all that stuff. But
well, it's also because those practical effects. They didn't, like,
sure.
They didn't actually have, like, a body for her all stabbed up or whatever. It's like he goes in for a stab, and the camera pans away because the actor's not actually stabbing her, and then they have the chocolate syrup running down the shower drain because it's in black and white, so, like, it's not blood, it's just like syrup or whatever.
You'd think, because I remember learning about that and thinking, that's so weird. Like, why don't you just use, like, something like dark, something red? But it's like, it would just come, it's black and white. It's so much darker, so it kind of, you have to really play with the, I don't know what term you would say for that, but just the lighting. There's a word I can't think of. It has to do with color and light. But
saturation,
maybe saturation. Well, there is no saturation. I guess it's like, is it luminance? Is that the word? There's some sort of word. Contrast, maybe contrast. That's a good word to use.
Exposure.
Speaking of,
I'm just naming all the words I know from editing.
Well, I do know Weston and I did we talked about this briefly before in the podcast, but our high school Julius Caesar project for blood. Do you remember what we did for blood?
How we used we tried a couple different flavor packets of Jell-O, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, it was just Jell-O. It was just basically Jell-O mix and some water. And we started with strawberry, which fittingly so, it's red. Yeah. But once it got a little too wet, and a lot of people in this were wearing, like, lighter colored, like, cloaks. But spoiler alert, they were just bed sheets for the most part. But when they'd get on people's, like, clothes, they would almost immediately just kind of once they dry a little bit, they'd be pink.
Right.
And so we switched to there's like black cherry, or no, it's not black cherry. I think it was just cherry. But like the cherry color for some reason just stayed darker, so we used that, and we did this battle scene, and we always had somebody on blood, like, or not always, but for a few scenes on blood control. So they were holding a bowl of just Jello mix and water, and when somebody would stab somebody off screen, somebody would throw the Jello or the Jello mix to make it look like blood splattering and stuff. It was fun. We had a lot of fun.
It's our most involved movie production that we've been a part of.
Weston, the 40-year anniversary is coming up. And by then...
Yep, the HD remake. Yep, for sure. You've definitely got the files still. They're definitely not corrupt at this point.
Actually, I do have an update on that. I did actually find...
No, you didn't. Get out of here.
No, you're going to think I'm lying to you, but I'm telling you the truth. Just the other day, or actually not the other day, it's like 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I pulled out my old camera, and I was just kind of looking at some of the old tapes, because I'm thinking I do need to eventually get all these things I've recorded on my tapes onto the computer, just so it's done. Tapes, after a while, they may not work anymore. So I'm in the process of getting that started. And when I was watching through it, I did see some footage. I was such an idiot at the time. I mean, I was a kid, I guess, but like I filmed over like half of it, but then other parts are still there. Now, I actually do have the original file still on an old hard drive, actually. But here's why I'm mad about this, though. Because there is 2 ways on this camera. We're going to get into the weeds just a little bit, folks. Bear with us here. Then we'll switch to our fun segment. But Weston might find this kind of interesting. So, back in the day, boys and girls, we had camcorders that filmed on tape. And then there was even some digital ones that filmed on tape, which is what I had. It was digital, but it still recorded to tape.
It's like Scotch tape.
And it's a piece of Scotch tape with little pictures on it. No, but that's what we had. It was like little mini tapes, and there was 2 ways to bring this footage to a computer at the time. So this would have been, what year was this? 2009, 2010? It was like sophomore year.
Something like that.
And there was 2 ways. There was through just the standard USB cable at the time. So what I would do is I would just turn on the camera and hit play on the tape, and then the computer would just capture whatever was playing on the tape. The quality was very bad, and that is actually how we did all our videos back then. But there was a way, and I learned this about a year after filming our Julius Caesar thing. I had another cable, which is now kind of a cable that's not really used anymore. It was never standardized really that much. It was the 1394 cable, which another more popularly known as Firewire. And so I got one of those, and when I used that cable, the quality was like twice as good. So anything past then looked better. So I was hoping that when I went back to my tape, that I would still see it all on the original tapes, because then I could have just re-imported it with that cable. I could get a converter from like Firewire to like USB 3 or USB-C or something, and then like just convert it. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So unless I painstakingly went through the scenes that are still there, it would just look choppy and weird if I like changed it out. So if I do it, it's still just going to look just as bad. It'll just be digital.
Here's our solution. You got to wait just a couple more years, and AI will be so advanced you can have them fill in all the gaps for you. You can have it just restructured with AI.
I actually thought about that, and I thought about really what makes the quality of this so bad. It's just so pixelated and just so low res.
But AI
can do a lot. I've had some pretty successful AI upscaling with like images that I thought could not be done for, and they did pretty well.
This old shot on a camcorder by a high school student in 4:3 resolution and probably 240p, upscaled to beautiful like 8K by AI and 16:9 or whatever. Like
I post it, and you know what comment I'm going to get? No one asked you to do this.
Well, that's fine, but it's just a promise you've been meaning to deliver on for... Because when did you say you were going to create that HD remake? After 1 year? And it's been, many?
Yeah, I said a long time ago. I said it back when I could still easily have done it. That's when I first started saying it. So it'll happen, and when I do, and I send it to all you guys, you're going to be all so thrilled. I mean, you should still have it on DVD somewhere, though.
I do somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where right now, but I do have it somewhere.
it was what a crazy time to be alive, because at that time Magix had a DVD menu maker, and you could make your own menu. And I made a menu for that. I mean, it was simple, but like I made my own menu. You could choose the font, and man, it was so cool. But now like it's such an obsolete thing. Like who, even like if you put in Blu-rays now, it just goes right to the movie, or there's just like one menu that says play or choose your language. Like that's it. So it's a lot different now. But
speaking of the Shrek quadrilogy, they had a lot of fun games you could play in their DVDs.
Oh, heck yeah! Shrek 2 specifically was like, I've seen YouTube videos about this, like little mini documentaries. It's like Shrek Idol, or what was it called? Faraway Idol, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
But that was so funny. That a lot of people consider that to be like the pinnacle of DVD menu interaction. Was like
it must
Shrek 2
have been.
Specifically.
Oh, it was so good.
There were so many things. There was a choose your own adventure game that you could play, which was fun. Like there was all kinds of fun things. Obviously, the Shrek Idol or whatever it's called was hilarious. We played that numerous times actually, even though like there's only a couple results that you can get. But it was just so much fun. It was so funny.
God, they had to animate those just for the not even the movie. You know what I mean?
I know. Like I think about that, and I think about how awesome is this that we get. But like I bet you by that point they're like, okay, they're probably hitting like crunch hours. They're tired. They're done. It's like, wait, guys, we're not done yet. We got to do the DVD stuff now. It's like a whole extra month of work. I just always had the feeling that they must have had a lot of fun making that movie in order to actually be able to do something like that, because something like that wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have felt fun if they weren't having fun. I'm sure there was crunch. I'm sure it existed, but they must have had fun, right? Well, the first couple Shreks in general were just such fun, good movies that you can feel it through how they're made. So I'm not surprised one bit. I mean, I don't know. But what I do know, Weston, is that it's time to move on to another little segment that I have planned out here. So, Weston, have you heard of the website Letterboxd?
There's a Letterboxd font style.
Okay, that's not a website.
No, it's not.
Maybe they use that on the website. Well, there's a website called, I think it's just letterboxd.com, and it's boxed without the E.
Oh.
And it's movie reviews.
Okay.
So what I thought would be fun is I have, I believe, 9 movie reviews where I'm going to blank out the name of the movie, and you're going to have to guess what the movie is based on the reviews. And a lot of the reviews are really funny and stupid, and that's why I picked them. And I only picked like really popular movies.
I hope so, because I'm not going to know anything.
Well, I think you might. But we'll see. So we will be right back after this short break. Hey guys, exciting news. We have just launched our Patreon. So what does that mean for you? Well, for only $1 a month, you'll get exclusive behind-the-scenes content from Weston and I, bonus bite-sized podcast episodes where you'll get the full, unplugged, and unedited Alex and Weston experience, and lastly, an exclusive Q&A where you'll have the freedom to ask your burning questions and we will answer them on the podcast. All for just $1 a month. So, if you want to support the show and get these extra goodies, head on over to patreon.com/Profoundish. Hey, we're back. Weston needed to, he stopped me. We were about to come back, and then he said, hey, I need to get some water. I'm dying over here.
I am actually just actively passing away.
So we need to knock this out before he goes. This is confirmed Weston's last episode. This is the Goodbye Weston episode.
What a one to go out on, too.
You know, if you really want to get some, like...
I hope all these movies that you've got reviews for are all, like, apocalypse movies.
I was just going to say that if we really want to get some clicks on this video, all we need to do is just title this Goodbye Weston. Goodbye, comma, Weston. And just put your face on it, kind of, maybe I'm sad and like you're smiling, black and white. Goodbye, Weston. Everyone's going to click on that video. Oh
my gosh. Maybe that's the boost that we need. Next week, you'll have to we'll set up the thumbnail for your apology video where you apologize for faking it.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I can maybe I can write an apology song.
You
know,
could.
because that went over so well last time.
You could, yeah, we'll get.
with
You've
that
got a
girl.
ukulele, don't you?
I do.
Perfect. We'll get you
We'll talk.
that ukulele. Yeah, this is a great idea. There's no way this could go wrong.
But for now, before we do that, we have I think once again, I think it's 9. I got some movie reviews off of Letterboxd, and these are all kind of goofy and funny. I found these across the website, and I'm gonna blank out any kind of hints to what like the name of the movie is or the characters. And Weston, I'm just gonna have you see how well you can do at guessing these. These are all what I would consider and many would consider to be very classic movies. So classic, in fact, that even if you haven't seen them, some of these are kind of on the nose that you'll still probably know.
I hope 4 of these 9 are all just a Shrek quadrilogy.
I'm going to give you just a little heads up. There's no Shrek, but I wish there were.
That's actually a clue. You've given me a hint. No Shrek in this. All right, got it.
Hey, there you go. There you go. I helped. All right, let's get to the first one. So I'm just going to say blank or like insert character here, but here we go. Here's the first movie. Tell me what movie this is based on the review. Oh, final thing, little disclosure to anybody listening. If you're listening with families or little ones, I'm just going to kind of read these as they are, and some of these do have some pretty suggestive theming or some foul language. So I'm just going to say it as it is because I don't want to deal with censoring myself later. Okay?
How
Okay.
raunchy are these reviews going to get? Jesus.
I'm playing it up a little bit, but you just hear me out. Here we go. Number
I really
one.
like the part where the guy and the girl just start going into town on each other.
Well, I'm just warning. Here we go. Number 1, first movie. I'm just going to say this. They say the name of the character, but I'm going to say the main character of this movie is gay, and here's my evidence. Number 1, literally comes out of a closet dressed in drag. Number 2, spaceship leaves rainbow trail in the sky. Number 3, has magic powers. For example, can make you fly. Only gays are that powerful.
I feel like that review was written by a gay person. Because at
for
first I
sure.
thought it was a homophobe, but then you end with that. I'm like, oh, okay, no, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
They were looking for
it's
some
definitely
representation.
a gay person. Yeah.
Come out of
These are actually good hints.
out of a closet and drag spaceship that shoots rainbows and they can make people fly. God, that sounds like a movie I need to watch.
I bet you have. I'll give you one hint. This movie came out in the 80s.
Whew. Oh boy, okay. In the 80s. So so it's probably like not as like super special effects stuff. It's probably something. It sounds like it's probably a comedy of some kind. Spaceship that farts a rainbow, dude. That's what I'm hung up on. Is this a sci-fi flick?
There's definitely sci-fi elements in this, that's for sure.
And the main character is magical?
The main character, I don't know if magical would be the word I would use. Think more sci-fi side of things. I'll just say that.
Could make
But
people fly.
definitely not, I'm just going to say it, of this earth.
Not of this earth. Well, yeah, that's what I'm like. Is it? I can't think of a movie with a rainbow farting spaceship. Is what I'm saying. So I'm thinking maybe unless it's like Spaceballs, and I don't remember the scene, because that's all I can think of is either the movie Spaceballs, and I think Mars Attacks was too horror to be like that goofy. So like those are the two movies I can even think of that might be in the same realm of time. I don't remember when Spaceballs came out.
May I just say that put a little focus on that. Actually, the first hint comes out of a closet dressed in drag. There's a very this kind of notable scene where the character comes out of a closet
in drag,
and they pretty much are dressed in drag. Yeah,
I don't think
they
I've
don't know
seen
what
this
they're
movie.
doing.
Whatever it is, I don't think I've seen this movie, so that doesn't help.
I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I was going to give you one more hint just to kind of guide you along here. When I say out of this earth or out of this world or whatever I said, I'm just going to flat out say it. This this character is an alien.
All right. Cool. Neat. That doesn't do anything for me. Is this a show about aliens? Like there aren't even are there even humans? Because this doesn't sound like Titan AE, which came out like late 90s. This doesn't sound like that Star Trek ripoff with Tool Time Tim in it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I love that movie, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, it's not Galaxy Quest. The 80s is too far back. I don't know.
So here, this is just for fun. I'm going to keep on going here, see how long we can get it till you get there. So this is a Spielberg film. It's a family film. Family, it's definitely kind of funny, but it's more of just a family fun film.
This isn't like E.T., is it?
Ding, ding, ding! It's E.T.
When do they have a spaceship that farts rainbows?
I don't remember that, but
I don't either.
But there's a scene apparently of it in there.
There is a scene where you're right. E.T. does come out of a closet wearing like a wig or something. I don't remember. Then he does his finger magic. So yeah, that's true. That's true.
And he can make you fly because remember that they're on like that bicycle, like flying like in the sky.
I can fly. I can fly. No, that's Peter Pan.
So Weston, I'm not gonna give that to you.
No, I don't deserve that.
It was fun getting there.
It's okay. I don't deserve that point.
But this may be the one. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. So this review goes like this. It's really short. What movie is this, Weston? Don't you just hate it when your school accidentally has Nazi snakes in the basement? Shake my head.
Nazi snakes? Why would your school have Nazi snakes in your basement? Is this Nazi snakes in your basement? Either this is a reference to an Indiana Jones movie, or not.
You're right. It's either that or it's not. You are correct.
These are the two options. Because obviously snakes are a thing in Indiana Jones, and this is a basement in a school, so this isn't Snakes on a Plane, which was a different movie.
Entirely, yes.
But I feel like there was. Is this like like when you say school? This isn't a college. This is like a random like middle or high school, right? Isn't this a movie about like 4 kids or something like that? Am I crazy?
Well, I try to think how to word this because it's about. I mean, it depends on what you want to call it about. It's probably not what you're thinking of because it's not about 4 kids. It's really there's 3 like main characters, I suppose. And I will just kind of correct this. And with what I'm about to say, this can still count if you guess it. There's not really Nazi snakes in the basement. It's a Nazi snake, basically. A snake in the basement.
That is a Nazi.
But emphasis on school. It's a very bad snake.
A very naughty snake.
Very naughty snake. But yeah, emphasis on school.
Okay. This has to be Harry Potter and Chamber of the Secrets.
Is that your final answer?
I don't think I said that title right. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Yes. It's got to be.
You're correct.
I don't know about I don't know about the Nazi part.
I know. I just thought it was funny.
But I guess maybe
you got there though.
Maybe it's there. Like maybe Tom Riddle. Maybe he's very Nazi-ish, and I just don't remember it because I watched that movie when I was very little. I need to do a Harry Potter marathon.
That sounds fun. I'll join you for that because I'm due for a rewatch. I'm a later fan. I didn't get into the movies till after they were done.
I was originally thinking
okay, well, you got one.
Completely different movie that I think took place in I don't know if it was made then. It took place like in the 80s or something like that, where there's a bunch of kids and there's something mysterious happening in their school, but I don't remember what I'm even thinking of or if that was a fever dream. So I don't even know what movie that was.
Let's move on here. Let's get to the next one. So right now you lost one and you got one. We've got a few more. So this next movie, oh my gosh, when we were in, here's your entry hint, just in case. When we were like probably freshmen, sorry, I'm getting emotional. I'm getting all burpy. When we were freshmen, this movie was huge.
Oh,
I'll just say that. Okay, here we go. This movie rules. Every male main character line is so much better when you pretend he's just the weird lanky guy at your high school that makes everybody nervous and does Dragon Ball Z charge-up moves when he thinks no one is watching. Every female main character line has the subtext of, you better let me suck that blank, shiny boy. Let's see here. The credits roll on the most inexplicable possible Radiohead needle drop. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm having the time of my life. Genuinely believe it's a universally enjoyable watch. The coolest guy in school...
No, go on. If you're
you have
still
something to say, go ahead. Okay.
Go ahead.
The coolest guy in school drives a Volvo. Every girl in school wants to kiss the boy who drives a Volvo. The main male character walked into school with his arms around the female character, and the group chats got hot. I can't believe the new kid got to ride in the Volvo. I'm going to be sick.
I 100% want to see a Dragon Ball Z remake of just vampires and werewolves shooting kamehamehas at each other. This has to be Twilight.
Good job. That is. Yep, it's Twilight.
I just want to see just like the hashtag Team Edward and hashtag Team Jacob back when we were freshmen or whatever. Just actually just Garlic Gun, Kamehameha, Spirit Bomb, Special Beam Cannon. I can keep going. I'm a Dragon Ball Z nerd.
Well, let's see if you're a nerd for this next movie, Weston.
Destructo Disc.
You're doing good. You're doing well. Let's see if we can get this one here. All right. What movie is this? This is a short review, too. They did their best to make me think otherwise, but being rich as shit seems pretty awesome.
That's no, that's literally what's that movie about the kid who's stupid rich, Richie Rich or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? That kid, the movie with the kid.
I'm not gonna say anything. I don't
know if that's
wait until you give me an answer.
The movie or not? I think it's like Richie Rich or something. I watched that when I was really little, and it's just like, yeah, he's got problems, but not really because he's stupid rich.
Let me guide you in one little direction because I'm feeling generous. This movie came out probably much later after that. This movie came out in post 2010.
Oh, post 2010? What's this review?
Yeah, I won't say what year. Say what?
What's this review? What was it? Being rich.
I'll read it again. So,
oh wait. Is it?
They did
is it Crazy Rich Asians or whatever that movie was?
I'll read it again just in case. They did their best to make me think otherwise, but being rich as shit seems pretty awesome.
It's Wolf of Wall Street.
Is that your final answer? You sounded confident.
Sure.
You're correct. It's Wolf of Wall Street. Good job. You're doing great.
I really thought, though,
was
based
that like
on
a complete shot in the dark?
Well, I'm like, movies about rich people in the post-2010s era, and I'm like, there was that crazy, I don't remember what it was called. It's called like Crazy Rich Asians or something like that. And that movie happened. I don't know what the plot was at all, just that it had rich people in it. And then the other one, I'm like, well, Wolf of Wall Street, they were rich. It didn't look like a good time to me, but I could see how it'd be a good time for somebody. So I actually, speaking of like a little disclaimer here, I actually think that movie's bad. I don't like it. And people are going to come for me for that. Yeah, people are going to come for me for that.
I do hear a lot of people talk about how much they like it. So that does sound like kind of a hot take, but
yep, hot take. I didn't think it was good.
Well, here is not a hot take. I think we can all agree this next movie is just a really good movie. It's one of my favorites from the company that makes it. I'm trying not to give anything away. So I don't know if you've seen this. I bet you have. It was a big one at the time. Here we go. The evil hat-dominated dystopia sequence in this film utterly traumatized my 7-year-old self for reasons I can't quite explain. Even now that I've racked up life experience and have real sorrow under my belt, the images of those damn hats remain seared into my brain. Blank is probably the reason I'm mentally ill. That's the movie title. I'm sure it's probably a decent kids' film or whatever, but I will never forgive it for single-handedly ruining my life.
hats.
Evil hat dominated dystopia.
Evil hat dominated dystopia. Evil hat. The first movie that comes to my mind with an evil hat, I don't even think the hat's evil. I just barely remember the bowler hat from Meet the Robinsons. The evil guy in that one has a bowler hat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the first thing that comes to my mind. Oh my God, if this is Meet the Robinsons, and I just don't remember it being a dystopia. It wasn't a dystopia, though. Unless there was a part in it I don't remember. There was like a utopia he came to because his like family's like super cool or whatever. But maybe I'm not remembering part of it. Also, Meet the Robinsons is just one of my favorite movies, actually. We didn't talk about favorite movies. So that's actually one of my favorites.
I will say that, well, first of all, is that your final answer? I guess we'll start there.
I'm trying to think of any other movie with hats at all.
And the evil hat dominated dystopia sequence. So this is sound like it's maybe just a short scene or something.
Then yeah, I have to go with Meet the Robinsons. I'm gonna have to go with my bowler hat gut on this one.
Weston Hasty. It is Meet the Robinsons.
Is it really?
Which is a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite Disney movies.
Oh my God, I can't believe I pulled that out of my actual butt.
You're doing fantastic.
I don't even.
You thought you were going to do bad.
I don't even remember the scene, and I'm like, the only movie I can think of is Meet the Robinsons because of the bowler hat.
You're doing great. Great movie, great soundtrack. I need to rewatch that movie.
Oh, I'm starting to live down the fact I didn't get E.T. earlier.
Yeah, you're getting all of them except E.T. Okay, but let's see if you get this next one. All right, we got a few left here. How has main character not killed himself on one of his house traps yet? Could you imagine him just climbing his stairs to get some like oatmeal or something and he forgets about the Knee Smasher 5000? Bitch just wipes the fuck out.
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was actually the movie Housetrap. Mousetrap? It's the one where the two dudes have they inherited this old house and they're trying to get this mouse out of the house. So they set up a zillion traps. I don't think that's the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Based on this review. Yeah, I don't think that's what it is. But that's the first thing that I thought of. It's like, how does this mother had not killed himself? I'm like, they try. Oh, do they try? They try. Maybe this is Home Alone when the kids set up all those traps. That's what I'm going to go with, Home Alone.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You are incorrect.
I can't think of another good trap house. Oh, for the original Saw?
Saw 2.
Okay,
I was
never
going to take
Saw
any
2.
Saw, though.
I only Saw the original, so I don't know what that guy's house is like, but I liked Saw 1. I think people have said it's got a lot of holes in it, but if you watch it one time out of context, the first movie's pretty good.
So right now, we've gone through, I believe, 6, or have we gone through 7? We've gone through 6. We got 3 more.
Okay.
And you've gotten 4 correct. So you're doing pretty good.
I did pretty good.
I mean, so like let's see. I mean, if you can get to 5, I mean, you've won this. So
all right. I want to win this.
Let's see what we got here. Here we go. Next movie. What is it? Never. This one made me laugh. Never watched it, but I'm smart enough to know there are only 5 senses, dumbass.
The Sixth Sense.
Yes, you are correct.
I haven't seen that movie either, but I have heard the name and I know it's a movie.
Do you know the major spoiler of it?
I don't know anything about it at all.
My gosh!
I couldn't tell you a single thing
then.
about it. I don't know if it's space fantasy or if it's baby shark kids stupid. I don't know what it is.
Hear me out. Listen, don't look up anything about it. Just find a place to watch it. Don't look up anything because you'll immediately see spoilers in it. And spoilers are very important, especially if you haven't seen this before, to not know them before you watch it.
Okay.
Because there's a reveal and all that stuff. So highly recommended, though. Great movie. Bruce Willis, really good. Okay, 2 more. Here we go. What movie is this, Weston? This movie makes me feel so violent. Words cannot describe the malice I feel towards the blank franchise. Whenever I see it playing on TV during the holidays, my blood is filled with pure, unfiltered, raw hatred. I wish those dumb parents never left their kid alone at home multiple times so that franchise would have never existed. If I could, I would delete the franchise from existence, as it is the absolute bane of my existence. That should be an easy one.
Yeah, this is definitely Home Alone. I've already mentioned it earlier.
Yep. You are correct. I put that in there as an easy one because just in case you were going to not do well, I wanted to give you one that you could definitely get.
In case
but you're doing great, though.
Failed every single one so far. Here's the one he'll get.
Now, if you get this one right, the final one,
okay,
I will. I'm just going to scream with joy, but I'm going to scream as loud as I can with joy, like literally as loud as I can.
Oh, that might not be good. My head might explode.
Well, I'll pull back from the mic, but you'll still hear it. Okay, here we go. Final movie. What is it, Weston? Here's the review. It should have been Michael Cera who got pregnant instead.
What?
I'll read it again.
Michael Cera.
It should have been Michael Cera who got pregnant instead. Now, do you know who that is?
I think so. He's one of those people that I confuse with other people, but I think is he in Scott Pilgrim?
Yes, he is the guy in Scott. That's what I was about to say. He's the Scott Pilgrim guy.
Because that was going to be my guess. Because I'm like, he ends up with a girl, and I don't know if she ends up pregnant or not, but it'd be funny if at the end of that movie, he's pregnant. That would be hilarious.
I love that movie.
He's also in, Michael Cera's also in, like, Batman versus Superman, right? He plays as a freaking Lex Luthor, I think. Randomly.
Not sure about that one.
Yeah.
But I believe you.
Isn't he Mark Zuckerberg in the Facebook?
Oh, you mean the social network?
Yeah. The one that's called the Facebook.
No, I think you're getting him mixed up with that other guy, and I know who you're talking about.
It's these two guys. I always forget who's who even. Michael Cera. What would he be?
I don't want you to look him up because you'll find his movie. This movie we're talking about probably pretty quick.
That's why I'm not looking him up. But like, what has he been? If he's supposed like,
he was in Arrested Development. He's what else was he in that you would know?
I'm guessing this is a review to a stoner movie. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, and it came out during like the peak of the stoner movie era. Because I'll tell you that
this feels like either a Jump Street or what's the one where everyone got like drank too much and then they woke up in Vegas or something.
Oh, Hangover?
Yeah, this feels like a Hangover or a Jump Street or a Pineapple Express. Was he in that one?
Okay, this is not that style of movie, but it is exactly from that era, like 2008 to like 2012 era, right? Like around then. But it's not that kind of movie. It's not like a raunchy stoner comedy movie. It's definitely a comedy, but it's more of like a situational kind of film, if that makes sense. It's like, here's a situation, watch it unfold. And then it's like a very kind of not outlandish situation. But, once again, I'm just going to read this, because this is actually very important. It should have been Michael Cera who got pregnant instead.
Well, that's just it. I'm trying to think of movies with Michael Cera in it so that like I can figure out what movie it even could be. And the thing is, this sounds like a movie I probably haven't seen because I've not seen a lot of Michael Cera movies. I just know they exist. So
I guess he's in a lot of these movies you're talking about. He was in Superbad. He was in Arrested Development. He was in Sausage Party. This Is the End.
Because these are also all movies I didn't watch because I wasn't into the stoner movie craze. So that's why I was like, It sounds like one of these stupid movies that I didn't watch. I'm going to just go with, you said Superbad? Sure. It's probably not that because you listed it. It's Superbad. Definitely No, it's Scott Pilgrim. I'm going to go Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim gets pregnant at the end. I'm saying it.
Okay, that's a better guess than Superbad. Unfortunately, no. The movie, and let me give you another hint and see if you can guess it from this. It's about a girl that gets pregnant, and like this unlikely guy helps her raise the kid. Or maybe he got her pregnant. I don't know. It's pretty much about this girl being pregnant. That was the whole point of the movie.
I can't think of a single movie that I even know of that's about a girl being pregnant.
Does the name Juno come to mind?
I've heard of that name. I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about it.
I don't remember it either.
That's like the Sixth Sense to me. It's like, I don't know a thing about Juno. I don't know a thing about it.
I've watched it. This came out in 2000. Okay, it's 2007.
That's like the same era, or I think as like, what was the Fly Wallpaper movie? Wallfly? Wasn't there a Wallfly movie?
I don't. You mean Wallflower?
Maybe. Yes, that's the one.
Oh, the somethings of a wallflower.
Yeah. Was that the same era?
I know what you're talking about. Same era. Yeah.
This is what level of delirium I'm entering as we get to the end of this podcast episode.
This is fantastic.
The Fly Wall movie.
You know, the wall that's on a fly. I mean, the fly that's on a wall. No, so this is when, let's see here.
Because that was 2012. Yeah, okay.
When precocious teen Juno, can't pronounce her last name, becomes pregnant, she chooses a failed rock star and his wife to adopt her unborn child. Complications occur when Mark, the prospective father, begins viewing Juno as more than just the mother of his future child, putting both his marriage and the adoption in jeopardy. It was, I can't remember why, but there was something kind of controversial about it at the time, but it got really good reviews.
Probably because, they're so young.
Like teen pregnancy and stuff.
Pregnancy, yeah. I feel like I remember seeing this in, like, a family video or something.
It was big at the time. That's why I picked it, because I remember, like, at the time, it was huge. And the actress has been in a lot of stuff if you look it up. But anyway, Weston, you did a really great job, actually. It's better than I thought you would do, and probably what you thought you would do too.
I did better than I'm still really happy about Meet the Robinsons. So
I need to go rewatch that movie. It's so good.
That's a good one. That's a good movie. Like, if you have kids and you want them to grow up believing anything's possible and they can be anything, show them that movie. That's a good family movie right there.
That is a good family movie. You know what else is a good family place to go? WestonHasty.com.
I don't know about that.
You should tell people more about that website.
That's my website. It's got links to all the things that I do. So you can go to my gaming YouTube channel on Magic Man Mo. You can go read some poetry on hastylymadedecision.com. But yeah, WestonHasty.com is where you can find all my stuff. My socials are there. Check it out.
Yeah, do it. And then after you're done doing that, go to my website, alexduquette.net. I'm mainly known for making music. I want to give a particular shout out to my music analysis / retrospective videos on video game soundtracks, though. I want to give a quick plug to that. It's called VGM Quest. You can look that up. Specifically on YouTube would be the best place to find it, but you can find it kind of anywhere. If you just type it in, it'll pop up pretty quick. Watch my most recent video. I talk about the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack and how it connects humans together. It's pretty cool. So watch that video, and that's it. Now, in terms of Profoundish, you can find us all over the place. You can find us on the typical social media channels at Profoundish Pod. We're on X. We're on TikTok. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, we're there as well. Anywhere you find us, make sure and listen to our stuff. Make sure you give it a like. You leave a rating if you can do that. Leave a comment. Any little bit of interaction helps our podcast in a big way, and we appreciate it. So what are some of your favorite movies? We'd love to know. You can leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. We'd love to keep the conversation going. But in the meantime, Weston needs to go Betty bye. He needs to take his little nappy nap.
I've been muting myself every time I have to blow my nose.
Is that true?
Yeah, you're all welcome.
He's got a nose blowing button specifically for that.
That's right.
It's just for when he's sick and coughs and sneezes. But we're out of here for now. And until next time.
All right.
All right.